Amid the outrage over Tennessee's new law limiting access to drag shows is another emotion: confusion. By now, you've probably heard about the legislation Tennessee's governor signed into law earlier this month that will ban drag shows on public property or at sites where they can be viewed by minors. But what's still not clear is what specific performances are covered by this new law, raising serious questions for business owners and performers. Meanwhile, RuPaul, perhaps one of the world's most famous drag performers, says the most powerful weapon to defeat measures like this is at the ballot.
Drag queens are the Marines of the queer movement. Don't get it twisted and don't be distracted. Register to vote so we can get these stunt queens out of office and put some smart people with real solutions into government.
I'm joined now this morning by Imara Jones, host of the Anti-Trans Hate Machine podcast and the founder and CEO of Translash Media. Good morning, Imara. Thanks so much for joining the show. I wanted to start with this new Tennessee law. Here's how it defines a, quote, adult cabaret performance. An adult cabaret performance means a performance in a location other than an adult cabaret that features topless dancers, go-go dancers, exotic dancers, strippers, male or female impersonators who provide entertainment that appeals to a prurient interest or similar entertainers, regardless of whether or not performed for consideration. Imara, you don't have to be a legal scholar to know that this law is just too vague. But what do you see as the biggest problems coming from this law?
Well, the biggest problems from this law is that it actually attacks expression. And so one of the questions is if someone is trans or if they are in drag and they appear near a school or they're walking near a school or they're driving past a school on their way to a performance, if they're a drag performer or if there's someone else on their way to work, the question is whether or not they can be arrested or held. The law is so vague, it's so broad, and that's because it's actually just an attack on a group of people. You know, it's not actually meant to solve or address an issue. It's actually to further marginalize a group of people. And this is very much in line with the overall attack on trans people writ large, because this is actually a focus by the Christian nationalist movement on anything that they consider to be outside of the gender binary, any type of expression, any type of separation from what they believe to be biblically imposed roles. So I think that we have to understand this as a part of a broader attack, and that's why it doesn't make any sense.
The bill's co-sponsor tweeted the following, quote, "We're protecting kids and families and parents who want to be able to take their kids to public places. We're not attacking anyone or targeting anyone." But Imara, look, this is a state that allows open and concealed permitless carry of handguns at the age of 18. Tennessee ranks 11th in overall gun violence. How is a law banning drag shows going to protect our children?
Well, it doesn't. We know that gun violence is the leading cause of death for children in the United States. And so I think that, you know, if they wanted to solve a problem, they would do something about guns. But none of this is about actual problems. It is about ideology and religious ideology weaponized for political purposes. And so that's why it doesn't make any sense in terms of the way that we want to think about politics, the way we want to consider how our institutions work. This is the exact opposite.
Imara, what can people do to support? What can people do to be allies to make sure that there's a concerted fight to push back against anti-drag and anti-trans hate?
The great news is that there's a lot, because one of the reasons why legislators do this is because they believe that it's cost-free. They believe that people who care about these issues or who are not a part of our community will not speak up and speak out. And so honestly, one of the biggest things that you can do is whenever these laws are before state legislators or city councils or what have you, is to actually make your voice heard, because they believe that they can have these votes without political cost. And that's why they're taking them. And the way to stop them is to show that that's not the case, and also to have segments like this. I mean, the more that the hypocrisy and the hollowness and the callousness of these laws are exposed, the better for the health of our democracy.